Oh boy, this is my favorite TV show.
We all loved cartoons growing up, and we all loved TV sitcoms. But let's look at some TV sitcoms that became Saturday morning cartoons. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at all you nerds to talk about cartoons. That's right. I know you're thinking. You say, Junkman, I come here to see stuff about Star Wars, old toys. I don't come here to watch you talk about cartoons. Well, you're here today to hear me talk about cartoons. Now, I grew up on cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. You kids that grew up in the 90s, 2000s, yeah, you got your cartoons, but you didn't have your Saturday morning cartoons. Nothing beats those Saturday morning cartoons. Now, I grew up on He-Man. Also, that wasn't a Saturday morning cartoon. It came on during the week. But those Saturday morning cartoons, especially in those 70s and early 80s, it was a special time because back then you only had about 3 channels, maybe 4 if you count PBS. And during the week, you had game shows and soap operas, and then the boring news with Walter Cronkite or Roger Mudd or whoever. Then at night you would have your good TV, your Facts of Life, your A-Team, your Thomas Magnum Show, and stuff like that. But Saturdays, that was our time. Kids got control of the TV. You got great cartoons like the Smurfs, Alvin and the Chipmunks, but even better cartoons like Cubert, the Rubik's Cube. Yeah, the Rubik's Cube had his own cartoon series. Pac-Man. There was even a Pitfall cartoon, a Donkey Kong cartoon. I'm surprised they didn't do a cartoon based on the video game Freeway. They did do a Frogger cartoon. And other cartoons they would do, they would take primetime sitcoms and turn them into Saturday morning cartoons. Now, some of these you know. Let's take, for example, Star Trek. I'm not going to tell you about Star Trek, the animated series, because you guys know about that. And for this video, I'm going to stick really to the 70s and maybe early 80s. Also, we're going to look at television shows only based on cartoons. There were also a slew of actors that got their own cartoon. I mean, you had Mr. T with his own cartoon. Remember when John Candy had his own cartoon series with Camp Candy? Even Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell had her own cartoon series back in the 80s. But we're not looking at those. We're just looking at television shows that became Saturday morning cartoons. Now, a lot of these were a series lasting 1, maybe 2 seasons or more. But there are a few on this list that was just 1 episode. We'll talk about those as we go. And we're going to start with one that probably has the worst title for a cartoon series ever. The cartoon was called Tabitha and Adam and the Clown Family. I'll give you a second. Do you know what this is based on? Tabitha and Adam and the Clown Family. If you don't know by now, it's based on the television hit Bewitched. I'm sure you all know the show Bewitched was about the suburban housewife, Samantha, who was a witch married to a mortal, either Dick York or Dick Sargent, depending on what season you watch. Darren and Samantha had 2 kids on Bewitched. Tabitha, the only one I remember, and apparently another child named Adam must have came really late in the season. I don't remember Adam being on the show. Tabitha and Adam and the Clown Family revolves around with the Stevenson kids, now teenagers, both having magical powers, trying to save a circus. Yes, you heard me right, trying to save a circus. Now, this cartoon only aired once as part of the ABC Saturday Superstar movie. The Saturday Superstar movie was a Hanna-Barbera production of 8 episodes, each one being a different animated movie. You kind of get a feeling when you watch Saturday Superstar movie, this is really their way to test the show. If it was a hit, you know they were going to turn it into a weekly series. There was only 1 episode of the Bewitched cartoon. Now, I said I wasn't going to really talk about shows that you probably knew were a cartoon, but I figured I'd throw this one in there anyway. We all grew up on the Brady Bunch. Any kid that grew up in the 70s and the 80s and probably the 90s loved the Brady Bunch. even if it was corny and stupid. It's kind of like we loved how stupid and corny it was. That was probably the best part of it. Laughing at their stupid perm hair or their bell-bottom pants, their flower collars. We loved the Brady Bunch. And not only did we have a variety show with the Brady Bunch, we had the Brady Kids. That's right, the kids of the Brady Bunch had their own cartoon series. This show revolved around, as you can guess it, the 6 kids of the Brady Bunch. Sorry, there was no cousin Oliver. And Mom and Dad Brady and housekeeper Alice didn't show up for the cartoon, but they did add a bird. The kids from the Brady Bunch did do the voices of the characters on the cartoon just for the first season. When asked to return for the second season, the kids said no. Film Nation even threatened to sue the kids for the breach of contract. 3 of the kids did return for season 2, but 3 others still declined. One of the greatest shows in the early 80s had to be the Dukes of Hazzard. The Dukes of Hazzard revolved around 2 country boys who like to sell illegal liquor. Just hearing that, you know, it would make a great Saturday morning cartoon for kids. For the cartoon, they dropped the hazard and just called the cartoon series The Dukes. It ran for almost 1 year in 1983, and most of the original actors from the television show added their voice to the series. This show was about the Duke boys, along with their cousin Daisy, racing around the world against Boss Hogg, Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane, and his dog Flash, where the Duke boys had to try to win the race to keep the family farm that was being foreclosed by Boss Hogg. Whew, that's deep for a kid cartoon series. And most of the episodes start off with Uncle Jesse reading a postcard from the Duke boys to his pet raccoon, Smokey. The Dukes. I don't remember this. I remember there was a Dukes of Hazzard cartoon, but I can't really remember watching it. Don't know why, because I was really into the television show. That wasn't until Corey and Vance took over for Bo and Luke. Anyway, there's one thing kids really loved in the 70s, a medical drama called Emergency. Okay, I don't remember any kids watching Emergency, but apparently they must have, because they felt that it would make a great Saturday morning cartoon. The hour-long weekly drama Emergency became a cartoon series called Emergency Plus 4. The show ran for 2 seasons in 1973 and 1974. Each episode would tell the adventures of the Paramedic Rescue Service. The plus 4 in the series title referred to 4 children who joined the paramedic crew in each episode. Sounds horrible. Nothing against the television show, but it just didn't seem like a show that would be turned into a kid's cartoon. But they did it for 2 seasons. Now let's talk about Gidget. You know the television show Gidget? Me either. I've heard of it. I've never seen it. It wasn't a show that was on reruns a lot, I guess, when I was growing up. It's kind of a little before my time, or before I was old enough to even pay attention to television. And Nick at Night never ran it, so I didn't know it. But Gidget was a television show in the 70s, and it had its own cartoon series with a terrible name also. Gidget Makes the Wrong Connection. Let's take a look. This was a one-time cartoon, also part of the ABC Saturday Superstar movie. While out on their boat, Gidget and her surfer friends have a run-in with a gold smuggler on the high seas. Hoy mateys, don't that sound good? Gidget fights pirates. Surprised they didn't make a cartoon series based on the Flying Nun. Now there's a few others I want to go over really fast, just because I think they're kind of popular, but I thought I'd just bring them up anyway just in case. We all loved Gilligan's Island, and there was 2 different cartoon series of that. One was The New Adventures of Gilligan, and the other was kind of weird. It was Gilligan's Planet, where the castaways were now deserted on their own planet. I did watch that as a kid. I really liked it. Bet it doesn't hold up, but I did like it. Happy Days even had their cartoon series. Well, kinda. It was called The Fonz and the Happy Days Gang. Richie, Potsy, Ralph the Mouth kind of got pushed to the side, and the Fonz was the lead of the show. And even their best friends, Laverne and Shirley, got their own cartoons. This time they were sent into the army. That's right, Laverne and Shirley in the army. And another spin-off from Happy Days, Mork and Mindy. It got its own cartoon series also. The Mork and Mindy animated series. But I want to go back to kind of some more of the obscure ones that you probably didn't know of or don't remember. Now we looked at the cartoon spin-off to Bewitched. And anyone that's a fan of Bewitched knows about the other show that was Bewitched Light, I Dream of Jeannie. And believe it or not, I Dream of Jeannie got her own cartoon also. And would you know it? One of the voices on that cartoon, long before Star Wars, was Mark Hamill. In the Jeannie cartoon, there was no Dr. Bellows, and she didn't hang out with her husband. She did hang out with her apprentice Jeannie, Babu, who would later join the Laugh Olympics. Jenny's master on the cartoon was a high school student named Corey Anders, voiced by Mark Hamill. Did you know that there was a Lost in Space cartoon? Again, this was just one episode and aired on the ABC Saturday the ABC Saturday Superstar movie. I said it already like 10 times, but it didn't star all of the Robertson family. This one just starred one, Craig Robertson. No, not that Craig Robertson. A new one, I guess part of the family of the Robertsons. Craig was never part of the television series. Craig Robertson and his crew embark on a peace-saving mission, cruising the universe in their space shuttle, the Jupiter 2. Jonathan Harris returned to voice Dr. Smith. Smith and the robot were the only characters from the original series to make it into the cartoon. You ever notice back in probably the late 60s, early 70s, if one TV network had a hit, the other networks had to copy it? I mean, you had Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched, Star Trek and Lost in Space, the Addams Family and the Munsters. And you all probably know the Addams Family had their own cartoon series. But did you know there was a Munster cartoon series also called the Mini Munsters? This was also one episode and appeared again on the ABC Saturday Superstar movie. The only original cast member that returned was Al Lewis as Grandpa Munster. The cartoon doesn't have the love and charm of the Munsters television show, and for some reason they gave Fred pink skin, and he looks more like a tree stump than Frankenstein. This cartoon wasn't good, but it was a lot better than the Munsters today.
We're the Munsters! We're the Munsters! Oh yeah!
One of the biggest television shows of the 70s was Rhoda, which ran from 1974 to 1978. And there's one thing kids scream when they watch Rhoda: man, I wish they would make that into a cartoon series. And they did. This is kind of a spin-off cartoon. The doorman on Rhoda, Carlton, got his own cartoon series called Carlton the Doorman. This was a television pilot, but didn't get picked up for a series. And no, it didn't air on that NBC special. It aired on the CBS special presentation on May 21st, 1980, and was never seen on television again. The episode revolves around the adventures of Carlton the Doorman, who was a character on Rhoda, but always seen off screen. If you want to watch the cartoon, it does appear on the Rhoda Season 5 DVD. One other show the kids must have loved during this time was That Girl. Another show I don't remember, always heard of. I think the lead actress was married to Phil Donahue, and anybody who grew up in the 80s knew who Phil Donahue was. But apparently they took the concept of That Girl, made it into a cartoon for one episode, called That Girl in Wonderland. The cartoon stars Anne Mary, who was the lead character on That Girl. In this, she takes the role of Alice, Goldilocks, Dorothy Gale, and Cinderella. Now this is the last one we're going to talk about, and it's so goofy and stupid, I had to save it for last. Now, we looked at the Brady Bunch cartoon, but did you know the Partridge Family had their own cartoon series also? And get this, it takes place in the future. It was called the Partridge Family 22,000 AD. I'm not making this up. It was a Jetsons ripoff, if you ask me. And this series, the Partridge Family, without any reasoning, lives in a very Jetson-looking future in the year 22,000 AD. Danny has a robotic dog. Of course, that dog's name is Orbit. How original is that? There was also a flying blue Martian that hung out with the Partridge Family. Partridge Family in the future. They were smoking some good doobies in the 70s. Well, that's a look at television shows that were turned into cartoons. I hope there were some here that you didn't know they made into cartoons. Let me know in the comments below. Did you watch any of these? Did you like it? Did you think the Partridge Family in the future was the greatest thing on television ever? Or was it something that I missed that you was hoping I would talk about? Maybe I didn't know about them. Leave that in the comments also. And until the next time, please, as always, thumb up my video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back again very soon with a whole new video. Again, this was just one episode and aired on the ABC Saturday, and aired on that ABC special, and aired on ABC Saturday, and aired on ABC, and aired on the ABC, and aired on the ABC, and aired on the ABC Saturday, and aired on the ABC Saturday Super. Man, that's hard to say. The ABC Saturday Superstar movie. I said it already like 10 times.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.